Gonzaga, we have head coach Mark Few, student athletes Kevin Pengus and Robert Sacre. Coach, first, if you could, the matchup with St. Mary's tomorrow.
It'll be another tough game. We've had history of them now over the last couple of years, so I'm sure it'll be a high intensity and physical game on the boards, and then also just a tough matchup with Dellavedova, with how good he is in ball screens and everything he does, and he space the floor and shoot it so well. So,
Kevin, can you talk about the matchup with St. Mary's?
We all know it's going to be a scrappy game. We split during the year, and we both want this one pretty bad, so we're just going to come out and bring a lot of energy and toughness and be poised, so that's big for our win.
Robert, what are some of the key things you guys need to do to get the win tomorrow night?
Limit our turnovers. I think turnovers are a big key for us, and when we have a low turnover count, then we come out with a great win. So turnovers and rebounds, I think those are their keys for this game.
Questions? Steve?
Mark, you've had a lot of good guards in a dozen years or so you've been there. How does Kevin rank Ridley as a freshman?
Oh, last. No, he's had an unbelievable year. He and Gary, I think, with no disrespect to Kev. I mean, Gary's kind of silently he kind of gets left out of the equation. And I mean, you go back and watch these games of what he does. They're both, to me, 1A and 1B. I mean, just the way they've handled themselves, just durability-wise, all year. And we've been playing them heavy minutes. The way they've both been able to make just big plays when we need big plays, whether it's a big shot or a defensive stop or a great read on a ball screen or against a zone, or again we had a big slip play last night. And they've just been great. They've been great. They've energized me, with their youthful exuberance and how willing they are to learn and listen. And it's been good. And the neat thing is they're still getting better. They're getting better. I mean, Kevin made some big steps last night with just hunting his shots and actually threw a slip pass, I think, and some things that we've been working on. So it's been good. So he's very good.
Sean?
Rob, what makes this rivalry so good? It's the best now on the West Coast.
I think it's how both teams and fans hate each other. I think we have this mutual hate that when it comes onto the basketball court, there's nothing like it. I don't think there's anything like it in the country, to be honest. We both know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and so when it comes to being on the court, we try to take advantage of it. And I think it's going to be one of those games tomorrow night.
Candace?
So, Rob, would you say, is this game business or personal?
Both. It's one of those things where we don't want them to get the championship. We're Gonzaga, and that's how we think. And we're not trying to be cocky, but we don't want them to have the championship. So that's personal, and it's business. When we need to get this game for the tournament and for our good seeding and whatnot. And it's a pride game, and we're playing for pride, and everything with that is Gonzaga winning. That's all.
Sean?
Coming into the season, Kevin, a lot of focus was on the front court of your team, and obviously it's been strength. But over the last couple of games, Elias Harris and his work on the glass, how important is that for you to have Rob and Elias dominate underneath?
Yeah, I still think it's a focus for our team. They make our guards, our job a lot easier, and they're so dominant inside that it opens up space for us to do what we can do. So definitely our focus is to get them the ball, get them going inside, and that's what gets our team going as well.
Steve?
I have a two-part question. One, when you were growing up, was there some guard, whether at Gonzaga or somebody else, whom you wanted to emulate? And two,
Like, Robert, do you hate St. Mary's or maybe just dislike them?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for correcting that. I was going to.
I hate him.
Well, growing up, Steve Nash, obviously being Canadian, really liked his game, and comparisons happened and stuff like that. But then as I got older, I just looked at a bunch of point guards. Chris Paul, there's so many great point guards in the game, and I'm trying to piece all their strengths together to build my own type of game. And part two, I strongly dislike them. Both teams don't accept failure, don't accept losing, and that's what makes the rivalry big, I think. So I think this is going to be a fun game, and both teams are going to come out strong, and it's going to be a good one.
For Coach, now that you guys are in it, I mean, this day off in between, do you find it as a good thing, or are you happy that it's here?
I mean, it's all right. Either way. You know, I think we played in a really, really high energy, high emotion, physical game last night. I mean, it was like two prize fighters going at it, and so I think it's nice to have 24 hours to come back down for that. Plus, we got out of here pretty late last night, so I think that helps. We probably played as heavy a minutes as we played all year, leaning on the first five. But either way.
Steve?
Briefly touched on this last night when somebody brought up the fact that Gonzaga was going to play in its 15th consecutive WCC Tournament Championship game. And it kind of caught you off guard a little bit.
Yeah.
Now that you've had a chance to maybe think about it a little bit, I mean, what does that say about this program's resiliency and consistency, you know, going on 2 decades to be able to, in a very tough league, to be able to do this?
I just think it's amazing. I mean, you know, I never really thought of our run of league titles until, you know, it got snapped, and then you look back and you look at all the great players we've had, and a lot of the guys that I don't think got as much credit, you know. I mean, I was thinking of Corey Violette, you know. He played with Blake and Roney, but, I mean, Corey Violette was a warrior, man. He was a double-double machine. And, you know, I always thought Casey Calvary maybe never got his due because Matt and Richie were the ones that were always talked about. And or Dan, you know, came on the scene at the end of Casey's deal. So, you know, 15 straight, you know, you get down to the tournament every year and you try to explain to your young guys how the intensity gets ratcheted up. Everybody's there. And, you know, most of these teams are playing for their lives, you know, keep their seasons alive. And, to be able to advance to the final like that for 15 years, it's just, I mean, our kids we've had in our program, or the guys we've had in our program, just deserve just an incredible amount of you know, respect and kudos for that.
Sean?
Mark, your ability to get your team to peak in March has kind of been a staple. What do you do? Is there anything specific to change or to prepare them mentally and physically for the challenges of a tournament setting?
I mean, we try it all year, Sean. I mean, we try it all year. I mean, I think that if you look back at how we schedule, you know, and just we put these guys in a lot of adversity during the year and in a lot of tough situations. You've been there for a lot of them, and you know, sometimes it overloads them, you know, but eventually, by the time we hit now, I think they've pretty much experienced everything, and they understand, and they know the growth that's needed to kind of, you know, to step up and meet the challenge. You know, I think that, and then, you know, the guy, I think it becomes more cerebral this time of year, and we're doing less and less in practice and physically, and doing more and more with just tape and with their heads and fundamentals. So, this team's handled that well here in the last couple of weeks.
2 more questions before these guys head to practice.
Mark, for all the talk about the players and dislike and all that stuff, is your respect for their ability to push you guys greater now or at first when they, you know, first started to get this thing going?
Yeah, I mean, I don't share the sentiments that these guys do here. I mean, it seems like we have a lot of rivals for whatever reason, you know. I don't know why. I think we handle our success pretty good, but everybody always wants a piece of us. So, no, No, I mean, I really respect, the way they've been able to win here in the last couple of years and do it in their own fashion. Total respect for a guy like Della Vedova who, he just knows how to play, and he's a great, great competitor. But it's been funny. You go back 15 years, and we had, this heated rivalry with Pepperdine. That was it. And then it was Santa Clara for a couple years. And that was it. And then it was, it was LMU one year for a while. And what's that? Yeah, and then USD. So I mean, it's kind of, But this has been real good the last couple years. They've been very good. This is two NCAA tournament teams going at it, just like Rob said. It's about pride now, and I think that'll show you, the level of competitors that are on both teams.
Last question, Bud.
Mark, has Kevin's progression this year been steady, or was there a point when he took off?
Well, I mean, it's been steady in some areas that probably aren't seen by anything other than maybe coaches. He did have 10 threes or whatever it was against Wazoo in the second game out or whatever it was for us. But, his progression has been defensively, he's much better than he was in November. Running our team, he's much better. He switched us in and out of offenses and sets. Really, really good last night with BYU switching defenses, which was something that he probably wasn't capable of doing, a month or so ago or even a couple months ago. So, there was some definite growth there. And like I said, both he and Gary have really, it's been a constant progression all the way through, and they started at a pretty high level, which was a good thing for us.
Thank you, Gonzaga.